And the coach said like, no, don't use here, use the back of your head.
Back of your
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's not even possible.
And then how do you tell a coach like, you're kind of wrong?
Well, I did. And that's what so like I'm outspoken, like I'm a Philly girl, whatever.
We've talked about it in previous episodes. The size of the school and the size of the classrooms should be a part of what decision you're going to make if you're getting recruited by multiple schools, because I had to learn the hard way. I went to big schools where the classes were auditoriums. I wouldn't go to class. The professor doesn't know me. I'm just a random name. But once I went to a school in North Carolina, Division 2 school, every time I skipped class, my coach got an email. That practice that day, I'm getting punished like instantly. So my GPA went from like a 1 point something to like a 3 point something.
My mom would like be super helpful with just like printing out the list of schools that were attending the tournament. And then I would sit there for hours instead of doing my homework and emailing these coaches to say, here's my schedule, here's my number, we're wearing our black jerseys. Like, I'm interested in your school. Completely.
And sometimes we dismiss our past and like, that was just BS. That was a waste of time. But then later you look back and you're like, without that, I wouldn't be good at this.
Completely.
And I didn't even want that.
That grind, that skill set, that time that I spent doing those like applications kind of in a way, transferred to applications of jobs. So now I'm going on LinkedIn and I'm like stalking these NFL teams and their like management, and I'm just emailing them. I'm blind emailing them saying, I'm Christine, I'm awesome, I want you to hire me.
Proud to announce that we actually have 2 female episodes back to back. Super excited about that. College basketball episode 5 with Giselle, and now episode 6. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Christine Kindt. I'm originally from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I actually moved down to Miami 4 years ago.
Nice. Okay, so Philly. So why don't we talk about high school? How was that for you? Did you play multiple sports? Did you just play soccer?
Is it bad to start with I hated high school?
No, never.
Okay. I went to an all-girls private Catholic school.
Oh, like a Lourdes down here in Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I actually know that coach. That's funny.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Ramiro. But the graduating class was 86 girls. So
whopping 86.
Insanely small school.
Yeah.
Everyone was super preppy, super rich, driving their like Jaguar to school every day. And I'm like being dropped off by my grandpa like each morning, each night. It's great. Yeah, I didn't like it just because of like the culture there. Mm-hmm. Like I just didn't fit in. All I wanted to do was play soccer. And then I didn't really go out much. I was just like full blown soccer.
Gotcha.
So
which is not a bad thing. That's
not at all. But like when it comes to like school people, school friends, like I had a couple like amazing friends, still keep in touch with them today, but it wasn't like a great high school experience for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So did you go there because the soccer program was like amazing, or just you and your parents understood that was the best route for what you wanted to do? Or
so it's interesting for soccer, like high school really doesn't mean anything.
Gotcha.
So if it's a Lourdes, like maybe college coaches would like see that film or something, but like this was, I think we were like AAA, AA. We were bad. Bad.
Gotcha.
Like I think, so myself and one other girl were the only 2 on the entire team who went and played like in college.
Next level, gotcha.
Yeah. So for club, that's where it was at. So for high school, I actually only played for 3 years. I quit my senior year.
Quit your senior
soccer.
year. Okay.
Yeah. Ran track instead. The coach for my high school was a doctor who never played soccer himself, and his daughter was on the team, and then just kind of like kept going through it.
I can kind of already tell where that story's gonna go.
Right. I played Division I in college. So I'm verbally committed my sophomore year. I signed my junior year, and that could be a little off. I don't remember. But I wasn't learning anything. It was actually making me more frustrated than not. Like, yes, I could hang out with my friends, but it wasn't.
And did you have like a private coach that like taught you one thing, and then when you went to school, you were being taught another thing, and then you had to like, you were like stuck in between?
No, my favorite one was, it was a practice, and we were like flicking the ball with your head. So like someone throws it to you, and you're supposed to use like your hairline to like kind of make it go back. And the coach said like, no, don't use here, use the back of your head.
Back of your
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's like, that's not even possible.
And then how do you tell a coach like, you're kind of wrong?
Well, I did.
Oh.
And that's what, so like, I'm outspoken, like I'm a Philly
Same.
girl, whatever. And like, I know what I'm saying is right. Like, I know that I, at the time, knew more about soccer than he did.
I'm sure it didn't take you long to figure that out, huh?
No, not at all. Like, I made the like varsity team my freshman year, started
Nice.
the whole time, like, was like a great player. But like, I bumped heads with the coach just because, like,
and question, like,
yeah,
the bumping heads, because I have similar stories as well, bumping heads with coaches. Did you do it behind closed doors, or did you do it like right there at the drill? As soon as he said back of the skull, you're like, no.
So like, I was definitely disrespectful where I actually would do it like in person.
Same.
And like kind of question him.
Yeah.
So like, looking back, I do wish I handled it like a little differently.
You're a teenager. What do you know?
Oh my God.
Nobody taught you that.
How old are you your freshman year? Like 12?
Yeah.
13?
Yeah, like 14,
Right.
15.
And I'm just like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about and he's making run. Like, I'm not running. But no, so I quit my senior year just because, again, bumping heads. Like, I think he didn't start me. He benched me for a game, which I probably deserved. But it's like, your stud is on the bench, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think I went until my second half.
When he benched you, was that like a year, 2 years, or 3 whole years of you guys just clashing and bumping heads?
It was 3 years.
Oh yeah. So you guys were already at your boiling point. He was already sick of you. You were sick of him.
Yeah. So I walked off the field and then walked immediately into the athletic director's office.
Oof.
Yeah. Which, like, we had a great relationship.
Okay.
So, and she knew, and she was kind of like, look, like, we have politics involved. The coach, like, owns a shore house that the nuns of the school use every summer. It's
so he's plugged up. So he's involved in the school.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No,
that's
he's
not good.
an amazing person.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely amazing person. Just not like a great soccer coach.
Yeah.
In a way.
Okay.
So I think he actually ended up getting fired, I think either the next year or the year after.
That happened
just
to me in
because there were a
college.
couple other players who quit as well.
That happened to me in college. I had a coach and none of us agreed with anything he said or the way he went about things. And then he gets fired after I graduate. I'm like, this couldn't have happened like a year or two before. You know what I'm saying? It
wasn't that big of a deal just because I still had club soccer.
Yeah.
So when you asked about the trainer, I'm small. Like, I'm a very tiny person. So that was something that always held me back. So I had a personal like strength and conditioning coach, Adrienne. And so she just like helped me develop like basically movements of my body that, yes, I'm small, but if you put it in the right position, like, you can get more extra strength out of this, blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
Amazing. And then I had a personal soccer trainer just specifically for like foot skills.
Yeah, technical.
Passing. Yeah, technical. Exactly. So George was amazing. It was those two. And then I played club soccer for a club called Montgomery.
Okay.
That coach was from England and then also coached in college. So like,
nice.
He actually knew what he's talking about.
Yeah, a lot of knowledge there. A lot of knowledge.
He absolutely amazing. And then I guest played for an older team to help me get recruited because they're a year ahead in the recruiting process. So if I guest play with them for tournaments, I'm now being seen by college coaches going for those games too.
And I'm sure if they ask, you're like, oh, she's actually a year younger. They're probably like blown away. Like, wow, she's ahead of her time.
They loved it because now they're seeing someone who they would be recruiting for like this year's program or like a couple years. And then also for like the next class coming up.
And not only
that was a big advantage.
Another thing too, like, you're not big, period. Like, not big for your size or your age. So you're
now
undersized.
I'm playing up here.
Yeah, you're undersized already. And then you're also playing up.
Yes.
It takes a certain level of toughness to be able to.
No, definitely. And I would say even like that even started with playing for my brother's soccer team.
Okay.
I'm 27, he's 25. So that 2-year difference when you're younger till you're maybe like 8 to 10 years old, maybe like you can push like 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. The girls and the guys are the same size at that point, or at least they're the same like strength and speed.
Yeah, it's kind of leveled out. Yeah, for the most part.
So I actually would play down to his age group, but because I was a girl, they didn't really care that I was 2 years older.
It's like a gray area, yeah,
it was
right?
Cool.
Okay. Cool,
I don't think I could officially do like leagues, but I do remember specifically like playing on that team.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the the combination of you playing with boys and you playing years up, did that really
Yeah.
like develop your game and take it to the next level?
Definitely, because it's all different styles, right? Because you're getting adjusted to like different coaching styles. You're getting adjusted to different players. When I would be on my brother's team, I'm not playing my position. I'm kind of just thrown anywhere.
Nice.
Or if you're playing up a year, you're kind of just like filling in for girls who like didn't show up.
Yeah.
So all of that was like a huge advantage. And then I was on a third team all at the same time while in high school.
That's a lot.
Right. So now you add the high school team, it's 4. So
With a guy that doesn't know what he's doing.
no, so soccer, there's something called the Olympic Development Program.
Okay.
And it's essentially just taking your state players. And it's not by age group where it's, I mean, back then it was like U11, U12, and then it would kind of be like from, I'm making this up, like June to June.
Mm-hmm.
But ODP, the Olympic Development Program, that was January to December.
Okay.
So I'm a December 23rd birthday, 1994.
That's your birthday?
Yeah.
That's my birthday.
What's up? Wait, really?
Seriously. December
So-
23rd, 91.
Facts?
I swear to God.
Yeah. That's weird.
That is a little weird.
Capricorns are awesome, though. Shout out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's awesome. My name's Christine, fun fact, because I was due on Christmas. Fun fact.
There you go. Got some history there.
So for ODP, I'm December, and I would be playing against girls who are January, February, March of 94.
Yeah.
So essentially, some of the girls are a full year older.
Which is a huge deal.
Huge.
In youth sports, yeah.
Yeah. So I would actually say, like, besides the high school team, which had like diversity with, or adversity with the coach, ODP program is actually where I would say that I failed. Like club soccer, that Montgomery team with the English coach.
Mhm.
I was the captain. I was starting every game, playing every game. I was one of maybe like, I don't know the numbers here, but maybe like 5 or 6 girls who went Division 1.
Nice.
I was one of those. So like,
You were that girl.
like a good player. It didn't start off that way. When I joined the team when I was U13, it was bench. It was like getting adjusted to the coach, getting up to that fitness level as well, because I went from rec to select to travel, then to premier. So this
Gotcha.
team was like the highest that you could go.
So guys, if you're not familiar with like those kind of soccer terms,
True.
so in club soccer, let's say Christine and I are both the same age. There are different levels for the same age group. So so you saw she said travel ball. So there are some groups where you might just be like playing a league. You're kind of like not as good as the other kids your age, and then the travel ones are the ones playing the big tournaments and all that stuff. Sorry, just wanted to.
No, it's true, because even travel, there was a premier team, and then which is like you're getting recruited, and then we had like an A team, a B team, a C team. So like some of the girls who start on B might move up to A, yada yada.
Right.
4 different fields of like hundreds of girls all
Right.
trying out to play on these 4 teams. So then the coaches would just
Slim
rotate. They would
pickings.
kind of So I did really well that U13 tryout. Made the premier team, but it did take a while to like break into the lineup. I had to get the strength and conditioning coach. I had to like train extra with the technical stuff.
Do you think you being undersized is part of the reason, or do you think you needed the work? Like they judged you honestly and like correctly, or do you think that you were being overlooked a little bit?
I needed the work.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Because the girls this was U13. So some of the girls who were on that premier team might have been on the team since U8, U9.
Big advantage.
So, right. So they're accustomed to the coach. They're accustomed to the practices, the travel,
playing style, everything.
and that level.
Yeah.
So like whenever you make a huge level jump, whether it be rec to club or whether it be high school to college, like there's going to be an adjustment period.
Yeah, some growing pains a little bit.
Which is fine and completely normal, because you're going from the stud of a team to now the next level of now you're like, say, the bottom fish in a way, and have to like earn it.
Yeah.
Prove
100%.
yourself. Yeah. So I don't remember what we were
ODP?
saying.
You were talking about ODP.
ODP, yeah. So that was the most adversity that I had because of the size, because of different coaches. And these girls were ballers.
Yeah.
So ODP was Eastern Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania was big enough for 2 teams. They had an East and a West.
Okay.
And then what they do is that's the East region. So then we would play against New Jersey, Delaware, New York. And then they would then form a regional camp to where all of those teams would come in and then try out to make the regional team. And then I think there were maybe 4 or 5 regions in the state. And then you would try out for the national team. And then that's how you could break into, say, like the women's national team, right. USA Soccer, like under 20s, like things like that.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the program itself. So even though I'm great and I'm Division 1, like there's still like levels to this.
There's still other levels,
my gosh, there's regionals, there's nationals, there's state.
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a great program. It's difficult to like make the drives because you're having to bring in like a whole state's worth of people into one practice.
Mm-hmm.
So those were definitely like 3-hour drives on like Sunday mornings.
Sounds like you made a lot of sacrifices over the years for soccer.
Oh, that's my mom.
Yeah. That's your mom?
Okay. Oh, that like
she molded you?
Completely give her every ounce of credit. So she was not only my club's manager.
Okay.
Because not club, but like the team itself, just the team manager. She kind of did their finances because she has that type of brain. And then she would also be the soccer mom to like pile all the kids in the car.
Gotcha.
Like meet at Christine's house at this time and we're going to this tournament like 2 hours away, 3 hours
She was a Swiss Army knife. Whatever the team needed, she was there.
Yeah. We would be in the hotel rooms and she would be the one sleeping on like the cot that we would bring in.
Wow.
She would be like, yo, players, like you got the 2 beds. There's 4 of you. Like
I got a lot about her.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, that was the biggest way that I could connect with her in a way. It was just sharing that soccer experience.
And did she play soccer or any other sports, or she was just supporting you because this is what you wanted to do and that's
right.
it?
So she's right now in her 60s. Okay. So when she was at the age of playing, they didn't have women's soccer.
What?
Yeah. Like that wasn't a thing. Like maybe.
Was she also in Pennsylvania or she was another state?
Yeah, she was Pennsylvania.
That's really shocking to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, maybe it was just like her area or something, but it wasn't good. Like girls at that time just weren't playing soccer.
Gotcha.
And that's why it's just like exploding right now. It's because it's the biggest sport in the world. People are finally catching up.
Finally. I feel like in the United States in general, I feel like the United States was very slow with seeing the beauty in soccer and seeing like the opportunities it can bring you, you know, because even football, as much as I love football, soccer you have a lot more opportunities with soccer around the world. Like football is just mostly the United States.
Right. It's difficult to get fans involved with soccer. You have a game that could end 0-0.
Yeah.
So to your football person who wants to watch them smash heads.
Right. And light each other up, you know, on the scoreboard.
Or basketball where they're scoring hundreds of points.
Right.
Like soccer's difficult for people to get into, but it's actually growing a lot.
I mean, me personally, I'm biased because I love soccer, but I'm like, if you can watch hockey, how can you not watch soccer?
I love hockey.
But, you know, I mean, everyone has their own preferences.
No, I love all sports, but I actually never played any other sport.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was 4 years old when I started soccer. 4. There's actually a picture of it. It's nice. It's really cute.
Okay.
Because I wear my hair the same way. It's actually kind of creepy. Yeah. It's like, that's me, but whatever. No, so I started with 4. And then when I got to middle school, that was actually co-ed soccer. That school team, middle school, was co-ed.
That's when you were playing with your brother, or is this a whole other thing? Just playing with the boys in your school?
He was on the team.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sibling rivalry there at all, or
not really?
No? Okay.
Not really. He did play football for a little bit too, so he was kind of back and forth.
Okay.
But no, it was so fun to play against the boys because not only was I able to keep up, but like you could also shine. Like it's not every day that this girl is like
humbled a lot of boys in middle school.
It's great. It was so great.
That's awesome. Girl power.
No, it was super fun.
So going back to high school, so education wise, so you're the first person that I've had so far that didn't go to high school in Miami. So I have my opinion about public education in Miami. So I wanted to see at your school, you know, how was the education side of being a student athlete and all that?
So I lived across the street from my local public school.
Okay.
So, and that's where not all, like a solid 7 of my club players went to school.
Okay.
So I'm like,
did you have a little bit of FOMO?
Oh my God.
My friends are there.
No, I would go to their football games and like they would be like, you don't even go here. It's like, we don't have a football team and I'm supporting you. Like, relax. No, so I was friends with those guys just because like my club teammates would hang out with them and then I would be like within the same friend group. But when it comes to like that high school experience, like just X out soccer, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a really great school academically.
I figured.
Great school.
It usually, correct me if I'm wrong, but usually small classrooms, like there's little to no room to mess around. Like if you're in a big classroom, it's just one teacher.
Right.
But if you're in a small classroom, it's just like you and a small group. Like the teacher's like, hey, hello, Christine.
Great.
You know,
hi.
like,
Hi. No, I cheated once where I like just like wrote down the answers on my hand.
Yeah.
They caught me within like 2 minutes.
Like we've been here before. Come on.
Like, come on. Because I guess like I didn't use my cell phone because it was like probably a flip phone at that point.
Nokia or a Razor.
No, so I actually had a 2.7 GPA
Okay.
out of high school.
Okay.
Just because I didn't apply myself. I didn't like it. I'm taking a Latin class. What is this?
When am I going to use this?
It's a dead language. Whatever.
And as far as so that offer you got, you were like sophomore, you said, when you got an offer. Did your GPA dictate how much money you got? Was it a full scholarship, or was the GPA irrelevant to your scholarship? Or?
So they were able to scale or like weigh the GPA.
Okay.
So they're like, all right, so a 2.7 at this school is probably equal to, I'm making this up, a 3.2 at this school.
Gotcha.
So I was able to kind of like persuade them in a way to give me academic money as well.
Nice.
So my scholarship was full for like between soccer and academics, and then like a couple other things that like I kind of applied for on the side.
Gotcha.
So that was awesome.
Guys, what she just spoke about is a huge thing, which is a part of the reason why we exist, which is applying for scholarships. So just because, like, for example, Christine, if I would have been in Christine's shoes and I would have gotten a partial scholarship, I'm gonna be honest, I would have just gotten a loan for the rest of the money. But she did the smart move, which was apply for academic money, apply for other scholarships. So in the long term, she got her whole school covered and she doesn't have to leave school graduating with debt. So that's a really big piece.
I could buy a car.
Yeah. Oh. So definitely, guys, make sure, look into scholarships. Make sure that try your best to do everything possible to not be in debt when you're done with school.
Huge. Because student loans are just like crushing some of my friends. Right now. Yeah. They're like
I'm
20,
still paying student loans right now.
Right. They're 27, 30. 28, and they're like having to live at home.
Yeah.
Like they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely. So you're going to college, right? So what's the name of we haven't even spoken about the college. So Campbell
University.
Right? Which also, guys, by the way, I played against Campbell before. So it's funny. And we lost. Yeah. we did lose. We did lose.
Kidding. I didn't even know.
So did you visit Campbell beforehand?
Yes.
Nice.
So because of soccer and how like travel-y it was, we actually went to probably like 2 or 3 tournaments in North Carolina.
Okay.
As a Pennsylvania team.
Okay.
And then we even went to the ESPN, like Wide World of Sports, I think it is, in Florida. So we even made that trip.
Nice.
We went up to Connecticut. They asked if we ever wanted to do like Vegas, West Coast. And like none of us really wanted to be like recruited by those schools. So we didn't go.
Gotcha. Okay.
So most of us wanted to stay on the East Coast, and we did. There was actually 3 of us who went to schools in North Carolina.
Nice. Yeah, North Carolina has a lot of schools.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Nice.
Absolutely beautiful. So, but I'm a Penn State family.
Okay.
My dad, my brother, my cousin, another cousin, like they all went to Penn State.
So you went against the grain.
So I wanted to at Penn State.
Okay.
So I went to one of their ID camps. So a lot of schools for soccer would host camps, not only so they can make money, but so they can also recruit.
Nice. Okay.
And that would be like community service hours for the players. That would be ways for coaches to see other players. So I went to a camp at Penn State, a camp at Maryland. And then they give you kind of like awards, like, all right, you're the best. And then they also grade you with like kind of like a report card for the week. You sleep there, you interact with the staff, you interact with a lot of the players. So that's huge, just from like an understanding of like what's the school like, because you're not only on campus, but you're also now having the players interact with you, which is super important.
They can give you some good insight.
Yeah. So I had to make the decision so Penn State offered me a walk-on position.
Okay.
So walk-on is no money.
No.
And they're like, you'll maybe play your senior year.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You got to earn it.
Right. So I had to make the decision of, do I want to go to a massive school coming from a tiny school, not play soccer to like the expectation that I would want to, and then... but it would make my family happy. Or do I want to get a little bit farther away from home? Because I did want to like get away from home.
Right.
go to a very small school, small class sizes. All the professors knew your name. You can't write on your hand and cheat.
Exactly.
Right. So I chose to be, say, a big fish in a small pond.
Which was, in my opinion, the right move.
Yeah. Just based on what I wanted.
Right.
So like everyone's different. Like maybe you definitely want to go to Penn State because it's an amazing school.
It's a huge school, whatever. Yeah.
Right. But I knew I wanted to go to a tiny school because I came from
small classroom setting.
Yeah. I just knew that fits me best.
Guys, that's a huge, we've talked about it in previous episodes. The size of the school and the size of the classrooms should be a part of what decision you're going to make if you're getting recruited by multiple schools, because I had to learn the hard way. I went to big schools where the classes were auditoriums. I wouldn't go to class. The professor doesn't know me. I'm just a random name. Yeah. But once I went to a school in North Carolina, a Division II school, every time I skipped class, my coach got an email. That practice that day, I'm getting punished like instantly. So my GPA went from like a 1 point something to like a 3 point something. And I'm not going to take all the credit for it. It's because I had no choice. I had to be there. So if you're like me when I was in high school, not a big fan of class and stuff like that, a small classroom might be best for you, like Christine did.
Yeah, completely. Our football players, one of the coaches would actually go to the class early and take his own role of like who would show up. So it's not even like, yeah, they got in a lot of trouble a lot.
I'm sure.
You have to go to class.
Athletes in school, as much as they're supposed to go together, a lot of athletes don't like school. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
No, but even like a lot of the classes though were like I got to pick first. So as a Division I student athlete, we're on campus a month before everyone else. So my freshman year, there's not a single person on campus besides the athletes. Mm-hmm. And then you get to pick your classes first, priority ahead of everybody.
That's always nice.
Huge, because you're getting the classes you want. Athletes had a specific advisor just for like the team itself. Mm-hmm. Amazing advisor. So all of those are like tiny little like perks of being an athlete in a way. Like, yes, you're owned by the school because it's your job and they're paying you to be there. Right. But they do give you like a lot of these benefits here and there that like extremely help you out, whether it be study hall hours or a tutor or just, again, picking classes first, picking housing first. We were in the best apartments just because they know that the athletes are on the campus the most. Yeah. So I would highly recommend like trying to be a student athlete. But at the same time, it's like, it's definitely making sure what's best for you. Is it Division III because you know that you're going to thrive and play as much as possible? Is it Division I where it's going to be like more rigorous, but you're going to get the chance to maybe like do something after, or at least like play against the best and like push yourself? It's deciding like what type of sports team relationship you want to have.
Right. And as far as education wise, when you were coming out of high school, did you feel prepared like your freshman year of college for what was ahead of you? Or did you have to kind of have like some growing pains as a student?
You don't know till you get there. Right.
Right.
So I had a 3.5 GPA in college. Nice. And that was strictly because I loved the school. All of my teachers knew my name because I was on the soccer team. Mm-hmm. A lot of them supported, some didn't. A lot came to the games. Nice. This one teacher, he would actually play the highlights of the games before class. He was like this huge sports fan. Nice. He had like every game. He started our women's lacrosse program actually. Nice. Sal, amazing guy. So the adjustment was easy for me just because I came from a very, very good school.
Gotcha.
In high school, like academically. So that 2.7, like I said before, kind of transferred into being like a 3.5 in college. Yeah. But that's because I got to also choose the classes that I wanted. So instead of taking my Latin class or like whatever,
you're not interested in at all.
I'm choosing my major. Yeah. And I actually started as a biology major. I'm pretty like mathy, sciencey. Mm-hmm. Started as that. And then the labs were the same time as practice.
That's a no-go.
So they're like, we're paying you to go to school, but to be on the team.
Not to just skip practice.
Right. Yeah. So if you skip practice, we're not going to pay you, basically.
Yeah.
So a couple of the girls were able to do it, but it was extremely hard for them. So they kind of had to like sacrifice a little bit of the soccer side of things to fulfill their career goals.
Yeah.
So whether that be like a science track or like something difficult. So I was prepared just because of high school and because I had more of a passion for what I was learning.
Nice.
So started as biology, but then actually switched to sports management.
Okay.
So that was half business classes and half like coaching, sports psychology, nutrition.
And did you feel like that was
type
right up your
classes.
alley? Sports and then business all together? Or?
Yes. I knew I wanted to always work in sports.
Okay.
It's my ultimate passion. Like Christine is a soccer player. Like my Instagram has the number 10 because that's like how I identify.
Yeah.
Like first question anybody asks is like, I play soccer is my answer. So, no, love the college experience. It was difficult to time manage.
I'm sure.
Because you're going to 5 a.m. lift, then you have to eat, then you have to go to your 8 a.m. And if you should shower.
Yeah.
Like, so it taught like amazing like life skills through doing that as well.
So that's
that I carry into my career for sure.
That's a perfect segue. So
yeah.
How would you say playing soccer at a very high level prepared you for a career in something outside of soccer? Like how do those two things like coincide or relate?
So my career was always in sports. The job I have now is out of sports, but my like clientele are the sports teams.
Gotcha.
So I work for Brightline the train. And then so like my clients are the Heat, are the Marlins. Inter Miami's my client. We just talked to US Soccer. So I'm involved from sports, but kind of like on the opposite side of it, which is amazing because I don't have to work the games.
Right.
I don't have to go to like 81 baseball games. I don't have to work for the team. Yeah. I'm their client.
So you can just get the perks of like being in and
I'm
out.
In a suite
but
all the time. I was in row 2 for the Marlins game the other day. Like,
nice.
No, it's awesome. Like little perks here and there that just keep me involved with sports.
Nice.
So that's the only reason that I really like got out of it. But for it, what was your question to prepare me for my career?
And yeah, like how did your habits as an athlete, coincide with your career now?
Right. So interviewing for jobs, I have a 9 to 5. It's corporate America. I'm a manager. I report to a VP. There's a president. We have billions of dollars at this company to play with, right? So super structured, like very traditional. So every interview I would go into, they saw 3 internships, which was wild that I could pull that off. They saw the 3.5 GPA. They saw the Division I athlete. So like those are already perks that set you aside from the hundreds of other resumes that they're receiving. So I was able to really, really like use that to my advantage. So I would go into an interview and say like, I'm Christine and I'm a soccer player. And they're like, well,
like that's what you're starting with?
Yes. And people, and it was different. So I was able to like connect with them more just because they're like, okay, this is not your standard interview. So I would say I have exceptional time management skills. I'm coachable from being on team. I'm used to being in a team atmosphere because you're interacting as a senior with freshmen. You're a freshman, you're interacting with seniors. You're going through some type of challenge or you have to overcome something every single day to be successful. Right. So like all of those things that you learn as an athlete transfer into a career.
To life, yeah.
Completely.
And obviously you got the job because you're there.
Yeah.
So
my first job out of college was actually with the Philadelphia Eagles, if you want to talk football a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, it was sweet. And I think that was close to like 800 resumes they had for that position. So you have to stand out. So
you always walked into your interview just unapologetically yourself,
Completely.
You're all you, 100%
Completely.
genuine.
Because I don't want to be somebody else,
right?
And have them want the person that I was portraying myself to be.
Yeah.
And that's completely the same with like when you choose a college. Like I want to choose what's best for me versus what's best for that coach. Because maybe the position you want me to play or the role you want me to fulfill is what's best for you. That's fine. But maybe it's the class size. Maybe it's the school. Maybe it's like the type of people you're interacting with. Because you have to remember that whether it be a job or college or high school, that's like your network of people for the rest of your life. Like I'm visiting North Carolina this weekend and I'm seeing 3 of my old teammates.
Yep.
Like we still keep in touch. I could fly to Colorado and visit someone. I could fly to California. It's funny. My roommate from college is actually from Pinecrest.
Okay.
Small world.
Yeah.
So like these are relationships that you'll have for your whole life.
Yep.
So when you choose a college, like you want to look at the people as well. Like who are you going to be interacting with every single day?
Relationships are huge.
Completely. And
like
that's
that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
completely because
It's true.
again, like for college, some people say it's just a piece of paper that you get after 4 years, which like is kind of true in a way.
It's oversimplification. Yeah.
It depends on your major in a way.
Right.
Like sports management, you can kind of learn wherever.
Yeah.
But it's the people, it's the professors, it's the network, it's the family that you had while there that will like elevate you throughout the rest of your life.
Sounds like you had a really great experience.
I did like it.
With college.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I did. There was a lot of like I said, challenges as well.
Like what?
But
like what curveballs do you remember? Whether it's school or sports, like what do you remember having to deal with?
The adjustment for academics we covered, which like really wasn't that hard. I enjoyed it.
Smooth.
But the social side, I'm a Philly girl.
Really?
And I'm going into the sticks of North Carolina.
The sticks. That's a great way to put it.
No, so Campbell University is 5,000 students in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. And the population like of that town is the school.
Oof.
So we would drive 40 minutes to a movie theater, 30 minutes to a mall. The closest bar for us to go out was like 10 minutes down the road. So like Waffle House was the place to be. So again, like the sticks, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's how we were too. We were 30 minutes or 45 away from civilization.
Right. And that even goes into picking a school as well. What type of like location is it? Yeah. Is it freezing your butt off in like Connecticut, which I had an offer for? Mm-hmm. Is it being super hot in Florida?
All important factors.
Yeah, and like
a school.
what's around? Is it in the city where you're going to be distracted by like say South Beach, for example?
Yep.
Like all of that goes into picking. And I understand that some people don't have kind of like the choice in a way. Yeah. They might just kind of take what they get.
Right. Speaking of choices, how many offers did you have, or can you just say like your top 3 or?
Sure. So Penn State was walk on. Campbell was full ride. I want to say there was, I think Butler in it's like Connecticut, Rhode Island, something like that. Butler was one, and then I think the Richmond Spiders were another one. I was talking to Maryland for a little bit too.
And then did you visit the other schools and then you kind of like weighed your options and then chose Campbell? Or did you just visit Campbell? You're like, I know it's here.
Right. So that's something that I wish I actually did more of.
What, visiting other schools?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Okay. Because I wanted to get away from school. So it was like I could go to the snow in Connecticut or I could go to like warm North Carolina. But like I wish I picked it more for like the school itself.
Gotcha.
So I really was only kind of comparing like 3 of them. And I think if I got more visits, I would have probably maybe not picked a different school, but definitely I wanted to see more options, I think, looking back.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Jason has a good question here. So is it better for an athlete to be in a tough spot, like in a school with no distractions, or do you feel like, an athlete can flourish even if they're in a city, or is that more tailored to like how a person is, individually?
I think it depends on the person, right? Okay. So the class freshman year that I went into, we had 13 girls in the freshman class. A soccer team is fielding 11.
Right.
So I think the team at that time had maybe like 36 girls.
Is that standard or is that big?
That's a little big, but I think now it's probably standard. And the reason is that those 13 girls freshman year, I think we were down to 4 or 5 by the time I was a senior.
Sheesh.
Because they either get injured, they either hate the coach and transfer or they're like, who cares about soccer? Like there's a boy sitting next to me in class.
Right. Just a whole other life choice.
Right, completely. So I think it really just depends on the person.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
But I love that question.
Jason. That was awesome.
So what, in your opinion, sports-wise, took you to the next level? Like, do you remember like a certain point when you're like, man, like I'm really above most people, most girls in soccer? Or were you always like, since you played against such great competition, were you always just amongst them? Or like, do you remember a point when you're like, I'm better?
Right.
Or were you just always just gradually working and just improving little by little, and then before you knew it, you had an amazing career?
I mean, there was a big transition from like say U13 to U15. Just
that's when everyone starts growing up a little bit, right?
Just like adjusting. Mm-hmm. So again, like some girls are now getting taller. Some girls are now building muscle. You're now seeing people's speed and athleticism.
Right.
So I think I knew I was different because I could run.
Yeah, you were smoking everybody.
Yes. Nice. And I'm not fast. I'm quick.
Okay.
So like I'll crush you like 5 yards, 10 yards.
Yeah.
And like reaction time is great.
Nice. And you're twitchy. You got that fast twitch.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. They called me Flash.
Nice.
Like,
nice.
So I always allowed that to kind of make up for the size thing.
Okay, cool.
To where I'm doing a 5:45 mile time. Mm-hmm. I ran, crazy. Yeah, it was fast. I was like, how'd I do this? And then just like the quickness and that's all because of trainers. Like I'm going to give a lot of credit to those.
Going back to the trainers you mentioned, the technical coach and the strength and conditioning.
For sure. They were able, because it was like one-on-one situations or small group training, they were able to point out my strengths. They were able to point out my weaknesses and then adjust them. Nice. So huge advantage based on the girls who maybe went to a basketball practice instead.
Right.
Like I was like just focused on soccer. So that being able to work hard and do kind of that side of it instead of just showing up for practice Tuesday, just going for a run on like
just
a Friday.
Doing the bare minimum, yeah.
Right, you have to grind.
Yeah. Like
you can't go to Division I by playing video games all night long.
It's
not going to work, right?
You heard that?
You can if you're maybe playing FIFA.
Right.
Or like Madden, whatever. But I never even like really like watched soccer either. Like you have to study the game.
Yeah.
To be able to like also put yourself ahead of things. Because when you're in college, you're now watching film. And we never had film being recruited. So I know like a lot of football teams like send film and even soccer teams now just because the technology has enhanced has done that. But I didn't really have film. It would just be
I didn't start bringing
emailing.
out film till college either.
Right. The most advanced we got was one of our parents made like a brochure of the players. It's like, here's their headshot, height, weight, what they wanted to major in, and then kind of like where they were looking for school.
Nice.
And then my favorite thing was when they put a stamp over it and was like committed. And then it said Campbell. All right, it's like, it. I'm unavailable.
I'm taken.
Yeah.
So now we're so going to your career, right? Would you say there's any, because you've always been around boys sometimes when you were younger, playing against them, with them. In your career, do you feel like that helped you prepare you for a life, like, you know, in your career now, like being around men and like having to compete for spots? Or do you feel like you get treated equally no matter what in your career, or it doesn't really matter?
Right. You have to earn it.
Gotcha.
So even if you're sitting at a desk all day, just typing away on a computer, like you're still putting in effort. You're still putting in brain space and after work hours. Like for you to be successful, you have to put in extra than what other people are doing.
I feel like you don't even know how to turn that off at this point. You did it for soccer, now you did it for your career.
Right,
you know,
completely.
It's kept working, you know?
Completely. And again, like I pulled in those skills that I learned from being on teams.
Yeah.
Going through challenges. Like all of those things are things that set you apart as a person. Yeah. So it's just like in your DNA. It really is.
Yeah.
So
you didn't miss a beat then. You got into your career like, this is what I have to do. I'll put in the extra work.
Yeah.
Guy or girl.
Completely.
Nice.
It helped with having a coach help because you're, say, like reporting to a superior, or you're being like managed by someone in a way.
Yeah.
So that was able to like very easily transfer from like that athlete coach relationship to a worker and a boss.
Right. Because being coachable or being able to listen is a skill for sure.
Huge.
Because sometimes we can be stuck in our ways for anything, and then someone might come along from an outsider's perspective and give you some good advice. But if you don't want to take it, you won't improve
completely. Or if I don't respect it.
Ooh, that's a big one too.
Huge.
Yeah.
So if you don't respect your boss, like you're gonna have a bad time at your 8-hour job.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a structure person. Like I need stability, structure. Like that's just like kind of how I am.
Yeah.
I would say as a female. So I was able to transfer that even into 9 to 5 versus like, I know you talk a lot about like entrepreneur.
Right.
And that's just not me right now.
Anyway. Yeah. No, and I love that you're changing the pace of it. You're bringing a new perspective to the young viewers, You don't have to be an entrepreneur, guys. You can take that route as well. She's doing very well for herself, so whatever fits you best. Yeah. Whatever fits you best.
I love my job as well.
That's awesome. And then you get to work with sports and all that. Like, I think that's pretty awesome.
It's amazing.
All right. So if you can travel in time and talk to your younger self, what might be like a couple pieces of advice you might give a young Christine?
Right. I think I would say cut out the perfectionist mindset.
Okay.
I think because
you're a little too hard on yourself.
Oh, I still am. Huge.
We're our worst enemy sometimes.
I'm horrible to myself. But that's just because I have extremely high expectations for myself.
Gotcha.
And I'm able to just like understand kind of how much I can either push myself or like kind of the level that I would want to be at. Mm-hmm. Like even the, say, Eagles internship after college. Really the only reason I set the goal to be NFL was because that was the highest level of sports that the United States has.
Gotcha.
So that's really the only reason.
And you got it out of 800 applicants.
Yeah, no, it was the best experience. It was an internship. I was making $8 an hour driving my Toyota into the city every day. Gosh. Yeah, what a life. I couldn't even pay for gas.
Yeah, it doesn't cover anything.
But we won a Super Bowl. I got a ring. I went to the Super Bowl. I was in the parade, like on the floats. Amazing. Oh my God, it was insane.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I wish I wasn't as hard on myself. I wish I wasn't striving for perfection because that's impossible.
You heard that, guys?
Impossible. So I think it's just giving yourself more grace, more compassion, and being like, you're awesome. Stop looking at the 1% of you that might have made a mistake or messed up
right.
So.
And guys, what Christine talked about right there is huge for an athlete or just yourself in general, even if you're not an athlete. So it's all about balance, right? So you don't want to be extremely complacent and just be okay with anything and mediocrity or whatever. Right. But you also, like Christine was saying, you don't want to try to be perfect because nobody's perfect. We make our mistakes. That's how we learn, yada, yada, yada. But it's good to, I'm going to be honest. If I had to choose between one or two people, I'd rather have the person that's like super hard on themselves and they're trying to be perfect versus the person that's like, oh no, I'm amazing. I don't need to work on anything. I'm just, I'm good.
Humble yourself. Please.
Humble yourself. I think that's a great quality to have with anything, someone like that is more detail oriented, they're always working for improvement, But the thing about ambition, guys, is it never stops. You can always do more. You can always earn more money. You can always have more things. You can always be more successful. So you kind of have to have a balance between being grateful for what you have and speaking nice to yourself, like you said, but also being ambitious enough to where you want more, but you're not angry at night that, you didn't do more.
You don't want to be your own worst enemy.
Right.
Completely.
Right. Be nice to yourself, like Christine said.
Yeah. There's a balance.
So for our young viewers, most of them are like, high school, trying to get to college, stuff like that. Would you have any advice for our young viewers? Anything, student athlete or just student trying to get to college?
So I understand that my path was very, not unique, but just super traditional. Mm-hmm. Like the club system. You would email coaches, they would come, they would scout you. My mom would like be super, super helpful with just like printing out the list of schools that were attending the tournament. Mm-hmm. And then I would sit there for hours instead of doing my homework and emailing these coaches to say, here's my schedule, here's my number, we're wearing our black jerseys. Like, I'm interested in your school.
Taking that initiative is big.
Huge. And then that even transferred those like that grind, that skill set, that time that I spent doing those like applications kind of in a way transferred to applications of jobs. So now I'm going on LinkedIn and I'm like stalking these these NFL teams and their like management and I'm just emailing them. I'm blind emailing them saying, I'm Christine. I'm awesome. I want you to hire me.
Nice. Taking that initiative.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's huge. Yeah. And again, like transferring all of these different skills from being a student athlete too. So I would just suggest to keep an open mind. Like,
as to what?
Like, I didn't want to put myself in a box for, say, Penn State.
Okay.
You know? So, and it's interesting. Campbell was one of the only schools I didn't email.
I would have thought for sure you've spoken to them regularly.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And that's because on like that big list of schools that were attending the tournaments, their mascot was a camel. So I was a Campbell University fighting camel was my mascot. All of my clothes that I still have a camel.
A nice camel on him.
His name was Gaylord.
What?
Yes, I'm dead serious. Gaylord and Gladys.
The fighting camel.
Good. Yes.
Name Gaylord.
Yes, I was a
fighting camel.
Yeah, I was a lady. I was a lady fighting camel.
Oh.
So I didn't email them. I'm like, I don't want to be a camel.
You're gonna be a Gaylord.
Right. I'm going to support Gaylord here.
Oh my god!
Jeez.
I didn't know that. We played against them, but I never knew that.
They came to see my teammate.
Okay.
And she's a stud. She's playing pro right now. She's awesome. So they came for her, but then they left with me. I think she might have been already like committed by that point or something. But it's cool because I'm now taking the time to email these coaches to come for me. Right. But in a way, I'm helping my sister, best friend, teammate next to me.
They're watching the same game.
Yeah. And it really was never like a competition either. Like we knew the system and like helping each other out. And that was pretty cool. It was great.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
You don't have to repeat it because I don't have my kid.
Yeah.
Why did she pick number 10 for soccer?
Ooh. So Jason just asked a great question. So why did you pick 10?
Why did I pick number 10? So I was number 7 in club because that was like my family number. That's the number that my mom wore, whether she was playing soccer or softball. Like that's kind of my cousin who played in college. That was her number as well. It was taken. So then I switched to number 9 because of Mia Hamm.
Okay.
That was like my idol growing up. She went to UNC.
Stud. Yeah.
So I was like, I want to go to UNC. It's like, you're not good enough to go to UNC. Like, stop it. Stop. But so then when I got to college, I actually switched to number 10. Number 10 was available.
That's like a prestigious number in soccer. Like
so it's actually interesting. It's very prestigious. Shout out to Messi, the GOAT. My favorite player as well. Nice. And I didn't like embrace the 10 until I started wearing it. Like when I picked it, I was kind of like, like maybe I would do like number 6 or number 9. But I was like, no, like 10's a soccer number.
I'm sure once you saw it hung up in your locker, you're like, all right.
It's hung up in my room right now.
That's awesome.
Like my college jersey's in my room. Yeah, it's super special. And then even just like who I am, like I'm a 10.
Yeah.
Come on.
There you go.
Team 10.
I like
What
it.
the heck?
I like it. I didn't think of it that way. Nice.
But it didn't have like significant meaning until I kind of like made it my identity completely. Nice. And like even like playing in like co-ed and adult leagues and like women's leagues here, like they know not to touch the 10.
Yeah, that's taken.
Like
locked.
That's Christine's, and if you're wearing it, like there's going to be a problem. Going to be a problem, which is really cool. Yeah. It's something that makes me like feel valued, or like it's something that it's just who I am.
Yeah, like you said, you gave it value. Like it became sentimental to you over time. All the memories, all that stuff.
What's the 31?
Same thing. Yeah. I didn't want it. That's not the number I wanted. And in football, I imagine there's a million numbers. But then it was given to me my 8th grade in the summer. And I was like, man, 31, this is ugly. Like, whatever. Cool. But then I had 4 opportunities to change it after freshman year, sophomore, whatever. And then I kept saying no.
That's who you are.
I kept saying, and the part that I liked about it was since it wasn't that common of a number to wear in high school, everybody wants a low digit number or whatever. You know, I kind of gave it value on South Miami, and they were like, "Yo, I know that guy 31." You know, there's a bunch of good number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, but there was only, in my opinion, one good 31. So I just didn't change it.
And then football is even like kind of based on position too.
Yeah.
For numbers.
Yeah.
So did you fit that position?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God. At least they gave me something that applied to my position.
Exactly.
Imagine me being
That's
somewhere
weird.
else. Yeah.
It's weird. You're like 88 playing cornerback. It's like,
yeah.
No.
And then now, 31 vision, the number,
That's
people ask me that a
dope.
lot. Like, why 31? And then 31 just represents everything I went through. So this podcast and our nonprofit organization is just about having athletes, these student athletes avoid issues that I went through personally.
Exactly.
Because not all of us can have an amazing mom like you had,
Exactly.
or not all of us can have great coaches in your corner besides the ones you have at your school. So 31 Vision is here to kind of like bridge those gaps a little bit,
And what's the vision part? Is everything you just said?
Yeah. The vision
Love
part
that.
is just avoid everything that I went through and just going against the grain in Miami, which is all about the bottom line, the bottom dollar, which is, what can you do for me? We're all about altruism, just asking for nothing in return, but your time and maximum effort as a kid. That's it.
And I don't necessarily want people to avoid what, say, my challenges were.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to like learn from it. Like, here's my experience, here's my knowledge, here's, say, like expertise in a way, just from like completing that chapter of my life. But again, I think the biggest takeaway is really like what's best for you as a person. Like, you shouldn't be making your parents happy. You shouldn't be trying to live up to your sibling type of thing.
It's huge. You're talking about a huge topic right now.
Huge. I'm the oldest. So I would definitely say that like my brother kind of went the soccer route just because that's something that my parents were used to. That's something that like I did. So that might not have been like who he was in a way. So do what's best for you. Like, make yourself happy first, and then everyone else in your life will be happy.
That's great advice. That's amazing advice.
Yeah.
I'm not coming out on camera, but something that it's very cool of, I guess like a small takeaway of what you said is the fact that you're working for a company and you're not thinking of starting a company, being an entrepreneur. I'm gonna tell you why that is very cool. It's because for both like athletes and for artists, there's a lot of athletes and artists that are starting companies, that are starting entrepreneurships. So it's like a cool thing. Even like it can always almost be like peer pressure. A lot of people have nothing going on and they'll say something like, I'm being an entrepreneur, And so it's a very cool to lean into the not so cool thing, because I really love it, because you don't have to do what everyone else is doing. It's funny because a lot of times people come and say, you know what I mean? You don't have to go with the trend. But I'm like, and I'm watching and I don't like to be disrespectful. I'm like, but you are going with the trend though. You know what I'm saying? You're going with the trend though. Like,
Right.
So like, it's very cool what you said, because it doesn't matter. The person can be an entrepreneur or not, but if what you like to do is you like to, like, your challenge is going into a company and challenging the company, challenging the structure. You know what I mean?
Completely.
Climbing that ladder, making the positions better in there, and then switching to another company, doing the same, competing from a company. It's a very cool thing. It's for an, I guess for an athlete, it's like you're going into a team. You don't have to start your own team. Right. You go into a team that you like, that is great. And that's a completely, like, it's very cool. I just wanted to put bring it back to that. It's very cool, and it's very important to understand you don't have to do the thing everyone else is doing, whether it's being an entrepreneur. Like, eventually a lot of businesses, a lot of startups are going to fail. Completely. And the pendulum is going to go back to, you have to work for somebody. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. And if your thing is doing the entrepreneurship, great. If your thing is not working for sports at all, great. If your thing is like follow where your heart, your mind, and your abilities are leading you. And I think that's amazing. I just wanted to kind of bring it back to that real quick.
No, I completely agree. It's where you're comfortable, right? So I understand myself enough to know that if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to wake up at 11 a.m. every day. I'll probably get done my work like like at night, just based on like me being a night owl a little bit. But like I know when to be at work, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, might push it till 7 just based on like projects and deadlines. But I make the same paycheck every 2 weeks, regardless of if I do my work or not. Yeah. Like I'm an annual salary. So I'm making this set amount of money, like regardless of if I take the day off or not.
And Jason touched on a really good topic because that it's weird that going corporate and going for the structure is against the grain. It seems like it.
Here it is. I'm a white girl from like the suburbs of Philly. Yeah. So that up there for that Catholic school was normal.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go on to be a CEO of blah, blah.
Right.
So it just depends. Yeah. Right. And then will I ever get into entrepreneurship? I would like to.
Yeah.
Because I do like the freedom of not having to work for somebody. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to put a lot of trust in yourself to be able to make your own money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if I could wake up and like maybe not get that paycheck for a month or 2 months and be like not anxious about it.
Yeah.
For example. So
structure is good sometimes.
Yeah. Just for me, it was the track of 3 internships in college, post-grad internship as my 4th, moved down to Miami and worked for the Miami Hurricanes in their ticket office. So that was, I think that was a coordinator position. Mm-hmm. So did that for a year and a half, then switched over to Brightline and became a manager. COVID laid me off. So that was this kind of a sketchy, like year and a half, 2 years of like figuring out who's going to hire me.
Sure.
In a way. Yeah. So at that point, if I was an entrepreneur, then that would probably be more of a positive than going through the entire interview process for another corporate job that had a stack of resumes like 800 long.
Sure. After COVID, I can imagine.
Right. So it took me 5 months to find a job after COVID. And then I was working for a software company who did the back end of websites for like the Boston Marathon, the Marine Corps Marathon. Those were my clients. I would help them with their marketing, their website build out. It was fun. It was just like a little too tedious. And the company was like a complete. It's weird. No, like, no, like the.
No. Where's HR? Where's HR?
There was no HR. Exactly.
They weren't.
They were HR. That is the.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, oh, this is fine.
This is good. I approve.
It's like, no.
She's already for Game of Thrones.
I'm out of here.
Game of Thrones.
Ew. Best show ever. Dude, it just wasn't good. It was a job to like just get by.
Yeah.
I actually learned a lot though. Like to switch from say like client marketing stuff to software and like the back end of websites, like that actually taught me a lot of skills that I still use in my job today, even if it's a little different.
I'm a firm believer that our previous, like leading up to a certain point, I feel like everything we go through is applicable to where you are presently. And if you apply those things, you can really thrive.
Completely.
And sometimes we dismiss our past and like, that was just BS. That was a waste of time. But then later you look back and you're like, without that, I wouldn't be good at this.
Completely.
And I didn't even want that.
Completely.
So definitely I think we need to embrace our growing pains.
Yes. You can pull things from like years ago and apply them to life today. Always.
That's the hard part, applying them though.
Right. Yeah, like you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like just advice, like you have to do the work. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the effort. Like nothing in life is ever just handed to you. And if it is, you might not be learning the skills or overcoming the challenges to make you a better person.
Or appreciating the success either.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, please, I'll take my dad's credit card every day. But for him to be like, no, like the girls at school might have it, but that doesn't mean you're getting it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
it's good parenting right there.
It was great parenting. Yeah. No, I love them. Awesome. They're awesome.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps up episode 6.
Nice.
Christine, thank you for coming.
No, this was so
you
fun.
gave such great feedback for the kids.
Thank you.
Guys, definitely make sure to subscribe, like, and share. If you'd like to contact Christine and ask her any questions or anything, definitely follow her. Her handle will be under the screen there.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Slide in those DMs. I'll answer anything. I like being a mentor, so
there you go.
Happy to help.
Straight from the camel.
Oh, no.
That's the biggest takeaway of today. I failed.
That was rough.
Damn, it's all right.